The dark truth about the merriest time of the year. Saturnalia, traditionally held from mid to late December, is an ancient Roman pagan festival honoring the god of Saturn, as well as a whole host of other false Babylonian gods such as Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. It commemorates the time of the year that aligns with the winter solstice, which is the darkest time of the annual solar year, when there is the least duration of sunlight over the day. The climax of this festival always falls on the 25th day of the yearly Gregorian calendar. Nimrod is referred to in the Bible as the son of Cush and as a mighty hunter, Genesis 10 verses 8 to 9, a title that is commonly said to be ascribed to him as he would hunt down humans to murder as sacrifices to the sun god Moloch. It was Nimrod who started the kingdom of Babylon when the whole earth spoke the same language, and he led the people to build a great city and the tower called Babel, whose top they would aim to reach into heaven to make a name for themselves, Genesis 11 verses 1 to 4, in the face of God. It was here the rebellious King Nimrod started the great organized worldwide apostasy against God, after the flood of Noah, which still dominates the world today through Babylonian religious practices and political systems. From the tales of pagan tradition and extra-biblical sources like the Book of Jasher, Nimrod, under the direction of Moloch, married his own mother, Semiramis, the queen of Babylon, in an incestuous act for Nimrod to acquire satanic, all-seeing eye, godlike powers as a type of solar god-man for his time on earth. During his life, Nimrod himself was worshipped as a sun god, and after his death, Semiramis presented her son Tammuz as Nimrod's immaculately conceived reincarnation, propagating the doctrine that the spirit of Nimrod was present inside of Tammuz. Semiramis claimed a full-grown evergreen tree sprang up overnight from a dead tree stump, symbolizing the raising up of the dead Nimrod onto new life. Tammuz was then seen as a sun god himself, or as the son of God, born as a man, becoming a foreshadowing type of a Christ impostor. After God came down to confound the languages of the people on earth in the times of the construction of ancient Babylon in order to thwart the building of the Tower of Babel and to divide and scatter different types of nations abroad upon the face of all the earth, Genesis 11 verses 7 to 9, and because of all the new languages that came from this time forth, these original false Babylonian gods took on many other variations of their names in other dialects, such as Nimrod becoming Osiris of Egypt, or Marduk or Baal, Semiramis becoming known as Isis or Ishtar or the Queen of Heaven, and Tammuz becoming known as Horus or Mithra. On the anniversary of the birth of Nimrod, which falls on December 25th of each year, Semiramis instituted the traditions of burning a yule log in the fireplace the night before to symbolize the dead tree stump of Nimrod, and then leaving gifts under the evergreen tree with the reincarnated spirit of Nimrod the next morning. By the time of ancient pagan Rome, all of these ancient Babylonian customs and traditions would be incorporated into the annual festivals around Saturnalia. The god of Saturn was invoked in Roman pagan religions as a supreme deity of satanic influence, or as one of the sun gods associated with Nimrod. The days of Saturnalia, from around the 17th to the 25th of December, were the most popular of Roman festivals in the ancient world, and its influence continues to be felt in modern times, mainly throughout the Western world, in the traditions now associated with Christmas, in the sense that during these holiday times, all work and business was suspended, slaves were given temporary freedom to say and do what they liked, and certain moral restrictions were eased. It was the liveliest festival of the year. In the Old Testament Bible, such Babylonian pagan customs were being practiced by his very own people, to which God condemned them in anger, saying, "Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger." Do they provoke me to anger, saith the Lord? Do they not provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Jeremiah 7 verses 17 to 19. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Jeremiah 10 verses 3 to 4. Astrologically, Christmas has always been celebrated on the death and rebirth day, figuratively, of the cosmos sun, Dies Solis Invicti Nati, as it moves through its lowest path in the sky in the northern hemisphere in the winter season. The darkest days of the solar year, but from that point on in the sky, the duration of daylight continues to expand until the time of the summer solstice, 6 months later, around the end of June, as the sun moves through its highest path in the sky for the latest sunset of the year. The winter and summer solstice days are the shortest and longest days of the year in daylight cycles according to sunrise and sunset times. During the days of Saturnalia, with the less uninhibited activities and celebrations that were practiced during these festive days in ancient Rome, it was common to see houses decorated with greenery and lights, and presents were given to children and the poor. Today, it's still the time of year when people of Western countries put lights on all kinds of objects, burn candles, and set up manger sets of fake baby Jesus and parents. We axe and put up our evergreens and fasten them with decorations. It's the time of the year for endless Christmas music in grocery stores, convenience stores, clothing stores, chocolate stores, electronic stores, bookstores, malls, and parks. Why? So that you're put into the mood to spend most of your hard-earned money to satisfy the whims of our corporate overlords. But it's not just the corporate overlords that we satisfy. We satisfy demonic or satanic idols such as the one we call Santa. By practicing the ancient Babylonian or Roman pagan customs of the festivals, we honor the same old gods of Moloch, Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. People justify such practices by telling themselves and others that Jesus is the real reason for the season. Yet the spirit of compromise and influence with paganism in the churches is more dear to the deeds or doctrine of the Nicolaitans, followers of Nicolaus or Old Saint Nick, which think God hates, Revelations 2 verses 6 and 15, giving authority over to the religious systems of ancient Babylon. As we raise up our stars atop our trees, we should consider who do we serve or worship. In Acts 7 verses 43, Stephen, the faithful martyr of the early church, rebukes the religious council of that day, saying, Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Reminding them that they too were engaged in the same types of satanic and idolatrous practices that their forefathers were, and so as a result, they would also be judged by being carried away in captivity. Amos 5 verses 26 to 27, just like what happened in Jerusalem by 70 AD. Today, people of all cultures and religious backgrounds, whether professing to be Christian or not, tell themselves that they love the lights, the caroling in the stores, the gift exchanges, and the dinners that follow. They tell themselves that Christmas is really for the children, but if they really knew the truth, would they continue celebrating this pagan holiday that doesn't honor Yahushua HaMashiach, or as you may know him to be Jesus Christ? According to the biblical chronological data, Jesus Christ was born in late September on the Gregorian calendar around the ancient Hebrew feast day called Rosh Hashanah. As John the Baptist was 6 months older than Jesus, this can be determined by adding 6 plus 9 months from John's conception, when his father Zacharias was visited in the temple by an angel while he served the course of Abiyah. Luke 1 verses 5 to 13. In the 8th of the 24 courses, 1 Chronicles 23 verses 1 to 19, that would occur in late June. Going 9 months back from September, late December would have been the time of Jesus' conception rather than birth, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph before they came together, and she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, thought about separating from her privately. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Matthew 1 verses 20 to 23. In the darkest time of the year, Christ, the light of the world, was not born, but truly he was immaculately conceived. Towards his own people, God says, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Exodus 20 verses 3. Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Jeremiah 10 verses 2. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and shewing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Exodus 20 verses 5 to 6. Jesus said, If ye love me, keep my commandments. John 14 verses 15. And when tempted, he said, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Matthew 4 verses 10. As you now have been given all of this knowledge about the liveliest festival or merriest time of the year that happens to fall annually around the 25th day of December, hopefully this video will wake some of you up to the power that many of you give at Christmas each year to darkness, paganism, and false gods whenever the wicked pagan practices of this holiday are celebrated.